Hello, welcome to the RC block. I'm Jamie Nitro. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Tonight I'm going to go through this Howin L6 engine, and I'm just going to go and just talk about some of the things I've had to do to make it run. Now, first thing I should talk about was the fact that I was getting a ton of oil. I was getting huge amounts of oil coming out from the rear starting area. Now this uses a wet starter. Because it uses a wet starter, what happens is the gear drive will go and turns the flywheel and the starter gear, and that picks up the oil. And as it's picking up the oil, what happens is the oil decides to come out and fill up that area again with more oil. And pretty soon you start filling up that area with more and more oil, and now that oil is going into the starter motor itself. Now what I've gone and done instead was taken and close that area off. Now it is I don't know if you can actually be able to see that, but what I have in here is a sealed nipple, so I'm able to drain the oil from that area. Because this is a sealed area, I am able to drain the oil from there and install new oil. Now what I've been using is anywhere from 7 to 10 milliliters of oil is really all you need back there, and I've had no problems. Now I've just reached the 1 gallon mark with this engine, which is really cool, because now I can go and take this engine apart and really just see how is it doing. I want to know everything. I want to get a complete story of all of the running that I've done on this engine, and it's been pretty cool so far. Sounds great, and I really like it. For the oil, I've been using, just some regular 2-stroke oil and some Castrol OW16 oil for the crankcase for the oil pan there. It takes about 150 mil of oil to get it right line or right full on the oil pan. I'm also using just regular Castrol Go at a 1:30 mix ratio there, or sorry, 1:25. Yeah, I like to use a little more oil, especially on break-in. So I'm using 1:25. The cool thing about the carburetors on these Toyin pump carbs are amazing. They very easy to clean, very easy to maintain. A shot of air through them. They have little diaphragms that are super easy to clean. They don't clog up. I've been loving it. It's also able to pull oil all the way from the back, way back here. There's no problem pulling the fuel from here into the carburetors and running this thing. So phenomenal. Love these carbs. Now the carburetor settings, you want to have, for me starting this, I had my carburetor set on the high speed needle about 3.5 turns out, and maybe just a little bit more, and the low speed needle I had that set about 5 to 6 turns out, and that would be what I did to start it on my carburetor settings. Now with my cooling, because one of the biggest issues with this engine is you can't really get proper water flow in the cooling system. So what's happening, the motor's overheating all the time. You're lucky to get a minute, 2 minutes before you got to shut her down and risk wrecking the engine. So now I got a little $15 6-volt pump here. This is more than enough to keep the engine cool, and it's been working phenomenally. I also have a diaphragm pump. I've just been testing these pumps to see which is quieter and which works. So far both pumps work the same. It's just one, the diaphragm pump is a little bit more quieter. Now guess I don't need this anymore. This is my cool brand new low profile fan that I got. It's only 10 millimeters. That's fantastic. Fits nicely, lots more scale. And now let's go on here more. Okay, so I just did a video about the Hall effect sensors and soldering them together. Now, that video, I made that yesterday, I believe. In any case, I just made that video, and I started with 4 Hall effect sensors, 2 of the 43S and 2 of the 3144. None of them really worked. So I just went into the 3144 because I know that they work, and it took a couple, but then eventually I found one, and this guy has been working for me all day. Multiple starts, multiple power ups and power downs, and not blowing on me, so that's great. Now I guess what I should do is get into what I'm also doing on the cooling system. Now, in order to make it easier for cooling to flow, to get the coolant to flow through the pump a little more easier, what I've done is I've added like one of these little spacers. Now, this is exaggerated size. I didn't make this big of a diameter. I made about half of that diameter. But what this spacer does is create just a little bit more room between the block and the pump. Allows the water to get in behind there a little more easier. I've also turned the impeller around, so now the motor doesn't have to work at all to put the impeller through the water, because it's not even really doing anything, but it still could be slowing down the motor. So why not just flip it around? The other thing too, I need that impeller in there. I can't just pull the impeller out, because then the seal will leak, and all I'll have is coolant coming out the front of this pulley. So we don't want that either. So I left the impeller in. I'm using an external pump now, and so far the cooling has been phenomenal. I've had less problems. I can run the motor for an entire tank, and I'm getting about 15 minutes on a tank right now, but hey, whatever, this thing is right on. 15 minutes is exciting already. Let me say. Now also for the ignition system, since this is what we're going to be mainly talking about, focusing on the ignition system here, I should note that I'm using a 5-cell battery pack that produces 6 volts. With this battery pack, it produces the right amount of spark. When I'm using the 7.4 volt battery packs, it seemed to blow out my Hall effect sensor every single time. With this guy here, I don't have Hall effect sensors blowing out on me. I've had no other problems with power or anything. So that's what I'm using to power up my ignition, and it's been great. Now I'm going to get into the rest of the distributor here. One of the things that I found was kind of very critical with this engine is if you don't have the distributor rotor incorrect, you're causing yourself a world of nightmares already just to start. Now in my video about the Hall effect sensors, I went into explaining what I had to do to get the sensors into this motor easily every time, and that's been working great for me so far. Now I'm going to pull off distributor here because I want everybody to see what's going on with my rotor. Now I know everything that's happening, and I'm just going to give you guys an idea of what my setup is right now. I guess I'll pull these 2 captures out so I don't lose them. Okay, so on my distributor, I have it set for my A spark plug, which is my number 1 spark plug or 1 cylinder. Let's just call it A because the book calls it A. So my A spark plug, which is this guy, this is my A spark plug, number A cylinder. That is how I am set up, so that my A is down here, starting here. So if you look where my electrode is right now, I'm actually about to fire. This is when the motor is about to fire. And as you can see, I'm a few degrees, probably about, I think I have it set at 12 degrees before TDC, top dead center. And that's when this motor will go off. So at 12 degrees has been pretty good. I'm sure you could set it at 15 degrees. I've had it in there. But one thing I found is if you go any more forward, it doesn't want to run at all. So if you look at where my setup is on my distributor, my capture is all the way almost bottomed out at the end here. So that tells you that I'm all the way over. I don't have any more adjustments, and really there's not much more to go. I have very little room in between this distributor and my belt. I don't know if you can see that in the video there. So I have mine set at 12 degrees. That's been running for me. I've got videos of it running, so you guys have seen this engine running, and it's running on 12 degrees. Now, if I had gone and say not paying attention and I went and put my distributor cap back on like this, what's gonna happen? I mean, my distributor, I'm supposed to fire down here, but instead it's gonna fire up here. It's gonna fire on the wrong cylinder, probably at the wrong time, and nothing's gonna happen. If anything, you might get a couple pops, and you might think, oh my god, hey, here we go. But no, it's not gonna start, it's not gonna run. So I know you gotta have it right here, and I've gone through everything with this engine, with the timing, mechanical timing, with the ignition timing, the valve timing, everything. I've been through everything, so I can tell you in a heartbeat where everything is going on this engine. I also have this marked in black here, and that tells me that I'm almost at my TDC. When this is over here, I am at TDC. When this is parallel or flat or horizontal to the floor, to the ground. So let's go through just my valve timing and stuff here. What I have found is that if you go with too much, you try to set your valve timing too high, like full valve timing, full travel and everything, the engine doesn't really run at all. It runs, but it's not very nice. And I found that if you have it so you adjust it so you get about 20 thou of valve backlash, like when you at full stroke you push down, you got about 20 thou of travel still left in this valve, and that seems to be working pretty good for me so far. I mean, I'm sure I will change all of that stuff as I learn more with this engine, but for now it's running at that. So that's how I have all of my valves set up. They're not full, as much travel as possible. They're almost at full travel, but not quite. You still get about 20 thou of backlash here. So let's just go through quickly what's going to happen here. Right now it just fired, and the cylinder, the piston is now on the power stroke and it's pushing down. Both valves are closed at this point. so the motor's not going to suck in any type of air, fuel, and it's not going to be pushing out anything. It's taking in power. Sorry for that. So here we go. We're going through our power stroke, and the motor is moving. Now, just before we reach bottom dead center, BDC, you're going to start to see that this exhaust valve is going to start to open right now. It just started to open, and I'm now at bottom dead center, and I'm going to keep going. So it's pushing all the exhaust gases out, everything was spent out, and just before I reach top dead center, TDC, you're now going to see that the fuel, the intake valve, is going to open. And I know it's the intake valve because it's the one hooked up to the intake manifold that's in the carburetor. Now that's going to open up, and that's going to intake fuel and gas. Fuel and air, sorry. So here we go. Right now I just saw the intake valves start to open, and now they're both opening. So both valves are open at this point, which is called valve overlap. And my exhaust valve is now closed. I'm past top dead center. Valve is closed. I'm full intake. Full intake. My intake valve is fully open. See, I got still lots of backlash there. Now my intake valve is going to close just after bottom dead center. So to make sure I have that right, you're going to see it's not closed. I'm at bottom dead center and it's still open. Here we go, keeping it. It's closing. It's not closed yet. Now it's closed. So as you can see, I'm way past bottom dead center. I'm on the compression stroke now. Both valves are closed, and I'm compressing all the fuel and air mixture right now. Now as I go up, you can see that the rotor, distributor rotor, is now coming around, getting ready to make its point of spark, which would be right about now. And as you can see, the nice thing about this engine, they put a little flat here. So if you don't have your engine taken apart, I can take like a tool like this, you know, with this guy out, or it's a little more difficult when it's inside the motor or inside the chassis here to be able to measure it. But with a simple protractor, I can take that flat and I can measure. So that's pretty cool that they put that flat on there. A little more easier for us. So there you go. That's how I check my valve timing to make sure everything's good. And as you can see here, I'm taking you through a full rotation here, and my valves are in time to what everything is doing mechanically, and my ignition. So everything is all timed up there. And I say if you have your carburetor settings to what I say, which is high speed 3.5 turn out, low speed about 5 turns, 6 turns out, then the engine should start for you. Now get your cooling working, because when you do get it started, you're going to see that you're not going to have much flow for the water pump. Maybe I have a defective water pump, I'm not too sure, but I would love to see some videos of people running their engines and getting a shot of some flow from their water pump, because mine doesn't do anything. I've given up on my water pump to the point that I've bought my own water pumps, external water pumps, and they are now working. The engine is now running. I've ran, like I said, half a gallon today alone, about 5 hours of running, 12 tanks of gas today alone. So yeah, it makes a big difference when you can cool your engine. Anything else here? So yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's basically about it. Gone over the starter and the wet starting system. I've gone over the valves and how to adjust them there, carburetor settings, how to double check that you do have your starter rotor in the right place, because I mean, once I do that and you know, you go and you play around with your engine or something, and no, I've been playing with my engine. How do I know where I gotta put this thing? I can go ahead and guess, but do you really want to guess? No. So I mean, what I would end up having to do, and this is how you're gonna want to double check everything, is you're gonna go through and you're gonna turn your engine. Now, right now, I know without looking at anything, I'm on my exhaust stroke, and because I've marked where my top dead center is in a black mark Sharpie, I know that I'm about to go and push everything out, and if I'm correct, my intake valve is going to start opening up right away. There's that black mark I was talking about. So anyway, now the intake valve is opening up. Okay, so now I'm at top dead center. This is flat, so this is top dead center. Both valves are overlapping right now. So any excess or unspent gases are exiting the cylinder right now. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna keep rotating because I have no idea where this rotor goes. I've just taken it out. If I go and put it in, I could put it in anyway. And you know, I don't know. Is that right? How do I know if that's right? I mean, well, let's just see if that was right. So this is coming out. I mean, yeah, I do have a 1 in 2 chance, right? So this is pushing down. I'm intaking right now. Intake, just passing bottom dead center. Intake valve closing. I'm compressing, and I should be getting ignition right now. And look at that. Without even realizing it, I just put the rotor in wrong. And if you're not aware of this factor, or you're not aware that this can happen, then yeah, your engine's not going to run. If you don't know what you're looking for, it's not going to, yeah, there you go. I just got it wrong. So I'm now going to put this correct. There you go. So that's how you can check that you got your ignition timing is good. That's how my ignition timing is. You see where I have my distributor is basically all the way over here. So I mean, give that a try, and hopefully we're gonna see some more videos of people starting up their Howins. That's exciting for me. Alright, well, thank you everyone for watching. If you liked the video, you found it helpful, please like and subscribe or shoot me a comment. I love to hear what you guys think of my videos. Anything I can do to help create better content and better videos for everybody, I would be so happy to. So thank you again for watching. Have a great evening. Happy building. Bye for now.